Have you ever heard of Thomas the Tank Engine? If you've been around little kids between the ages of 2 and around 7 or so, I'm sure you have. My son adored Thomas so much that he could name every single train, knew what color they were, and the number they had painted on them. I was glad when I heard that he was coming to visit me over the summer, but I had a ton of work to do, so I bought him a Thomas DVD. The cover looked innocent enough. What was also interesting was that Thomas was smiling and little wooden children were waving their arms out of the windows in his coaches. The DVD was called Thomas and the Children. He was so excited to see the DVD that right off the bat he pleaded with me to pop it into the DVD player. I went to work while he watched it. After a few hours he came into my office looking as pale as a sheet. His voice seemed very weak. "Are you okay?" I said. I touched his head and noticed that his temperature had gone up. "Why did Thomas kill the children?" My heart sank like a stone, but I soon brushed it off. "I'm sure Thomas didn't kill the children," I reassured him. "Now you need your rest and some medicine." I gently pushed him toward his room. "Come on now." After putting him to bed, I got curious as to what he had seen. I popped in the DVD and began to watch the episode play. It seemed normal enough. The episode began as Thomas was told to take a group of children to the seaside by the instructions of Sir Topham Hatt. I noticed something was wrong. There was no narrator in this episode. The episode then showed Thomas picking up the little wooden children and showed every single one of them climb on board. Then there was a scene with him zooming down the rails like he always did, and the kids were cheering, but up ahead, Bertie the bus was stuck on the level crossing, moaning for someone to help him. This is when the episode got strange. Bertie stared at Thomas in fear, but Thomas just smiled and sped up. He laughed, and the kids were crying with tears coming down from their wooden faces. Immediately, Thomas crashed into Bertie, and pieces from both of them flew everywhere. Usually by now the narrator would say,
"Luckily, no one was hurt."
But there was no reassurance for the kids. The episode then showed what happened inside the coaches. Wooden limbs were broken off. What looked like actual blood had been splattered everywhere. We see brief shots of their heads ripped off and tears painted upon their faces. Everything went to static. After that, I felt myself boiling over with anger. What sicko would create something that messed up for little kids? Then I paused the static. Messages started to appear on the screen like kill, obey, multiply, and die. I watched the static and more different messages flashed on the screen, and on the bottom one of them said, "Rip Thomas." I threw the accursed thing in the trash after breaking it in half. I would not expose my child to any more of that trash, but before going to bed myself, I checked him. He was happily asleep and snoring, clutching his teddy. I had a nightmare from this, the one where the children came into my room but they were lifelike and as tall as a normal person. Their twisted forms grabbed my limbs and pulled me apart, while I heard that blasted train laughing. Now I've woken up, covered in blood, knife in hand, and I'm afraid to check my son's room.